Just ahead on CTV News. An elementary school teacher will remain in jail following sexual abuse charges. Plus,
this plans to be one of the busiest holiday travel weekends on record. I'm Bryce Parker. We're going to tell you when to cross the Bay Bridge coming up on CTV News.
If you're planning to catch a flight to get to your Labor Day festivities, expect to see long lines at airports. I'm Katara Jones at BWI Marshall Airport. I'll tell you why coming up on CTV News.
Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for August 29th. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Mariah Gilad. Thanks for joining us. Well, a Prince George's County's teacher who admitted to requesting nude photos from a former student will be held in jail without bond after appearing in court yesterday. And State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy says there are other victims. Court documents say Mark Cobb met the 9-year-old girl when she was his student at Cooper Lane Elementary School in Landover Hills. Cobb began communicating with the girl in June 2023 through the online game Roblox, and in that time asked for and received explicit photos of the child and asked her to engage in sexual acts with him. Cobb is now being charged with sexually abusing the student, and Braveboy says the state's attorney's office wants to get justice for the other victims they know are out there.
We expect, that if additional victims are local, that they will come forward to us. But at this time, we have the one victim that we know of, but we do have images of other victims, and we're going to try to identify them. Again, if there are any other victims out there, please come forward. Parents, talk to your children. Please talk to your children. Don't be afraid to have the conversation, because you could be saving their life.
And CTV reached out to Roblox, the game where the victim said the abuse started, and a representative says in part, our hearts go out to this child and her family, and we're glad she's safe. Our goal is to create a platform that's safe for all users and strive to ensure the right safeguards are in place so incidents like this do not happen to any child. And anyone with information on this case is urged to call the police department's Child and Vulnerable Adult Abuse Unit at 301-772-4930.
And this weekend is expected to be one of the busiest weekends for travel on record. CTV's Bryce Parker and Katira Jones joins us now to talk about what is expected of this holiday weekend. We go to Bryce Parker first at Sandy Point Beach. Bryce?
That's right, Michaela. More than 350,000 vehicles are expected to cross the Bay Bridge behind me this holiday weekend. And whether you're going to do it by car, motorcycle, or 18-wheeler, the Department of Transportation wants to make sure that safety is at the forefront of everyone's mind. With delays expected in both directions, here are the following times that you should cross the Bay Bridge to avoid any delays. If you have not hit the road by now, you should wait until after 8 p.m. to cross the bridge. Tomorrow, you're going to need to get an early start by crossing before 10 a.m. or after 9 p.m. Saturday, plan for an even earlier start, passing through the bridge by 9 a.m. or you can wait until after 6 p.m. Sunday, you get to sleep in a little bit and cross the bridge by 11 a.m. or wait until after 6. And Labor Day Monday, you will have a 12-hour stretch where you can expect to see the heaviest traffic. Do not cross the bridge between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. unless you want a long look at the water around you. Remember, when traveling the Bay Bridge, the lane signals do change. If you see a red X, do not travel in that lane. When you see a yellow arrow, that means that you need to get over soon. The lane will run out and you need to go in a green arrowed lane, meaning that it is safe to travel in that direction in that lane. From Sandy Point Beach, I'm Bryce Parker. We're going to toss to Katira Jones, who's at BWI Airport, to talk about holiday airline travels.
That's right, Bryce. If you're planning to travel by air this Labor Day weekend, well, you aren't the only one. In fact, TSA expects to screen more than 17 million travelers through its security checkpoints nationwide. The Labor Day travel period kicks off today and will run through Wednesday, September 4th. TSA expects that during this period, passenger volume will be 8.5% higher than it was last year. If you are catching a flight, keep in mind that the busiest day to fly is expected to be tomorrow, August 30th. Now, with millions of more people planning to fly, travelers should keep in mind just a few simple things. One, if you're taking a domestic flight, arrive at least 2 hours early and 3 hours early for an international flight. And second, make sure you bring an acceptable ID with you to the airport. Tell us, where you're headed to.
Las Vegas for a week, for a little mini vacation. I ain't been on one for 3 years, so we're gonna see how this gonna go.
Okay, and Labor Day travel period kicks off today. Are you worried about long lines at all at the airport?
No, not really, because, you gotta wait anyway. Everybody trying vacation like everybody else.
I've been here maybe 20 minutes. I can't check in yet. And if you look around, I did everything online. I already have my bag pass to get. I'll put that on, go right through security. If you're prepared, ready to go, bring something along to read and do, you are good to go.
I'm back here at BWI Marshall Airport, and if you're planning to take a Southwest flight, keep in mind that the busiest day to travel Southwest is expected to be August 30th and September 2nd. And also, we just want to stress that this airport and airports across the country are expected to be very, very busy during this Labor Day travel period. Katera Jones, CTV News.
Bryce Parker and Katera Jones on team coverage for us. Thank you so much. Well, flyers should also keep in mind that firearms are not allowed at security checkpoints. All weapons must be placed in a hard-sided locked case in your checked luggage, and passengers must declare it at the airline ticket counter. And buckle up as we head into Labor Day weekend. Maryland State Police are putting out a crucial safety reminder for drivers. From tomorrow through Monday, troopers from all across the state will be on high alert, focusing on reducing alcohol-related accidents and injuries. They'll be out in force with a special unit, the Impaired Driving Reduction Effort Team, working statewide to keep our roads safer. So if you're hitting the road, make sure that safety is your top priority.
An Atlanta man was arrested during a traffic stop in Howard County Wednesday morning. 47-year-old Otha Samuel was pulled over for a broken brake light shortly after 8 a.m. Maryland State Police say they saw numerous criminal indicators and conducted a canine scan of the vehicle. Troopers found 483 packets of Suboxone and a 9mm handgun with a loaded magazine. Samuel was charged with possession of a controlled dangerous substance, intent to distribute, and firearm possession by a convicted felon. And Democrat Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump won't be the only names on the presidential ballot in Maryland this year. The Green Party of Maryland just met the signature requirement to put nominee Jill Stein and her running mate on the ballot. The party needed 10,000 signatures to be officially recognized by the state as a political party. Voters will also see the unaffiliated ticket of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his running mate on the ballot. They'll still appear even though they suspended their campaign nationally last Friday.
And the Maryland State Treasurer is accusing the Commanders of using the state and county to lure a bigger deal for a potential stadium in D.C. The Commander Stadium in Landover has been the home of the team since 1999, and State Treasurer Derek Davis believes the new ownership group is using Maryland and Prince George's County as a, quote, backup plan. The newly named Northwest Stadium is a vital part of Maryland's $400 million Blue Line Corridor project, including the $8 million approved by the Board of Public Works for the construction of the 3 mixed-use building in Largo. And the current lease for the Landover Stadium ends in 2027. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Mariah Gillette. Coming up, if you live in Prince George's and you're passionate about the environment, listen up.
That's right, a new program that will help clean up the county is on its way, and we'll have the details when we come back.
Sexting is sending pictures of yourself naked or in a sexual act or performance.
Sextortion happens when someone receives sexually explicit material from you, and then they turn around and use it as a threat to release it online or share it with your family or friends.
Predators rely on the vulnerability of somebody feeling isolated or shameful or guilty or embarrassed, and they use those feelings to capitalize and be able to exploit those individuals for their own personal gain.
And especially if someone takes a screenshot or decides to share something, once something leaves your phone or your tablet or your device, you have no control over it, and it can spread as far as around the world, and we've seen that in our investigations.
Did you know that 9 out of 10 Americans are sick of the divisions in our country? But there's one small step we can take to remember that we're still connected. All over America, strangers with different political views are coming together to talk about their lives, not politics, and discovering they actually have a lot in common. Because even if we don't see eye to eye, we can still talk, heart to heart. So let's talk, for a change. Learn more at takeonesmallstep.org.
Welcome back. For the first time in 30 years, residential street sweeping is coming to Prince George's County. At a press conference today, the county executive's office unveiled a new initiative aimed at tackling litter and pollutants on our residential streets. Now, this program will sweep curb lines and gutters, reducing debris and enhancing the look of our neighborhoods. Starting September 2nd, that's next week, street sweeping will run Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will cover all county-owned and maintained streets.
We'll be giving information about when the street sweepers will come, but we do need people to remove their cars and also their trash containers on the days that the street sweepers will come through so that they can gain access.
There is enough trash that we need this program. It seems that we have people that are dumping trash for no reason at all and not picking it up. And then we do have those neighbors that are attempting to pick up trash. So yes, it's very much needed.
And the program will roll out in 2 phases, ensuring cleaner streets and a healthier environment for everyone.
Well, a Maryland man has been sentenced for fraudulently obtaining more than $3.5 million in payroll protection program loans. According to documents, 48-year-old Rudolph Brooks fraudulently obtained PPP loans between April 2020 and September 2021. He used the money to buy a 2018 Tesla Model 3 and property in Upper Marlboro. Brooks concealed his misappropriation of the funds by laundering the rest in 17 different bank accounts. He was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison, followed by 2 years probation. And the Treasury Department has issued new regulations that will make it harder for criminals to launder money through real estate. The Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network will implement the rules. Real estate professionals must report cash sales of residential properties sold to legal entities, trusts, and shell companies. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said the rules address some of the nation's biggest regulatory deficiencies. This is an effort by the Biden administration to combat money laundering, a key part of its agenda.
And big news from the Supreme Court, they've hit pause on the Biden administration's latest multi-billion-dollar plan to reduce payments for millions of student borrowers. The justices turned down a request to reinstate the plan, which had been blocked by the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. In an unsigned order, the court said it expects the appeals court to issue a fuller decision on the plan, quote, with appropriate dispatch.
And the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation announced $8.9 million in grants to support wildlife habitat conservation, climate resilience, and community partnerships in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. The funding will be used to conserve more than 10,000 acres of habitat, restore nearly 100 miles of streamside forests, and reconnect 1,500 miles of aquatic habitat for migratory fish.
What's really important to us is to try to figure out how we can center equity and justice and conservation actions and open up that space and engaging communities of color and under-resourced communities in conservation actions and in that conservation space. And we're really proud to say that again this year, at least 80% of our funding went to work on projects that are directly and meaningfully engaging underserved communities in both urban and rural areas.
The Chesapeake Bay is the largest estuary in the country and is crucial for numerous species and the livelihoods of more than 18 million people. For more details on the grant projects, visit nfwf.org/Chesapeake. And still to come on CTV News, we hear a lot these days about mental health, but one local business is helping patrons focus on their personal health. After the break, find out how Indulgence Health transformed into a multi-purpose wellness facility. Stay right there.
Everyone has a ritual. That small thing to keep us focused. A habit we never skip. To clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Maybe you surround yourself with positivity. Or you need to center yourself. And they're not just habits. They're steps we take to lift us up and keep us going. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. So find what works for you. It's important to have ways to handle stress, anxiety, or anything else that comes your way. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed. Why? Outdated stigmas and beliefs. So let us make it easy. This is a job for someone with autism. So is this. That job, also perfect. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring. Yes, these are all jobs for someone with autism. To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
Welcome back. The Maryland State Department of Education announces updates to income eligibility guidelines for school meals. Dr. Carrie Wright, State Superintendent of Schools, says, quote, access to healthy, nutritious meals during the school day is an essential part of being ready to learn. The programs are overseen by the department and follow nutrition standards set by USDA. Eligibility is determined based on household size and income. To see if you're eligible, visit eatsmartmaryland.org.
And the Maryland Department of Corrections is shelling out $25,000 to settle a federal lawsuit after officers at the Western Correctional Institution took away an inmate's walking boot, a medical device he needed, claiming it would be used as a weapon. On Wednesday, the Board of Public Works gave the green light to the settlement with George Bobbitt, but not everyone on the board was convinced. Treasurer Derek Davis questioned why the settlement was needed in the first place. And the Maryland company behind several popular recalled brands of ice cream has filed for bankruptcy. In June, Totally Cool Incorporated recalled several items for possible listeria contamination. Now, the company makes products for brands like Friendly's and Hershey's. The FDA shut down the facility's production during an impromptu inspection in May. No illnesses were reported following the recall. And according to the Baltimore Banner, the company has now filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and laid off more than 70 employees.
While the owner of this local business wanted people to realize their personal health is a priority and important enough to participate in regularly or indulge in. That's how Indulgence Health was born, and what began as massage therapy transformed into a full health and wellness facility, addressing what the owner saw as a lack of safe spaces for Black women and men and other minority groups to receive treatment in Maryland.
I truly feel that it's health. And so for me, health is for everyone.
Venice Dixon started her business in 2007 when she was working as an electrical engineer. That is, until she got her massage therapy license.
I always knew I had an interest in alternative medicine, other ways of healing, ways to stay centered, and just something was always nagging at me, knowing that I wasn't in my right space.
That right space is here in Bowie, where clients can enjoy therapeutic massages, spa and steam, post-op treatments, and more. Dixon says these things should all be incorporated into your daily health and not seen as just a luxury.
When I say the luxury mindset, I am speaking of those who still believe that the ability to relax, to enjoy themselves is something that is not that they should have every day. That is something they should experience every now and then.
Breathe right there, right where I'm holding. Inhale, focus right there.
Healthcare is self-care, and that it shouldn't just wait for a trip.
And the treatment doesn't begin and end with the physical. Indulgence offers wellness life coaching, energy healing sessions, and yoga therapy. Dixon says Indulgence isn't just a spa, it's for clients that are ready to go further with their health.
My business is for the person who realizes that putting their body, their temple first is really important. Wanting to know more than just, okay, I went in, they released the knot, I'm good until next time. Those who want to get past just that surface stuff, that's who my business is for. So if you want to know self from a physical, emotional, spiritual level, we're here for that.
And you can learn more about Indulgence Health and their services at indulgencemb.com. And still to come on CTV News.
Simon Buggs is here with our Thursday sports page. Simon, what's going on?
Well, guys, I'm really excited about today's sports page as we have some exciting news from the world of MLB and tennis. Hey there, sports fans, and coming up on your Thursday sports page, Maryland native Francis Tiafoe makes some noise at the U.S. Open, and Washington Nationals prospect Dylan Cruz has a moment he'll never forget. Don't move.
Hi, I'm Gary LaVox. One thing you know about me is I used to be the lead singer of Rascal Flatts, but what you might not know is I now use my voice to support paralyzed veterans of America. Today, PVA is fighting for accessible air travel for our nation's disabled veterans and all people with disabilities. Did you know buses and trains are accessible, but airplanes aren't? Did you know that in-flight restrooms are inaccessible? Did you know that 28 wheelchairs are damaged every day by airlines? That's like breaking the legs of 28 passengers each day. Unbelievable. How is this okay? Air travel should be accessible and safe for everyone, a basic civil right for all people. It is why I support PVA, and so should you. Our nation's heroes fought for your independence. So join me in the fight for theirs at PVA.org.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
What's going on, sports fans? We begin your Thursday sports page with some tennis news. Maryland native Francis Tiafoe took the court yesterday in the second round of the U.S. Open. The number 20 seed matched up against Alexander Shevchenko in order to advance to the second round. Tiafoe played well, winning the first two sets 6-4 and 6-1. But Shevchenko quit the first game of the third set, which allowed Tiafoe to win the match and go on to the next round. Tiafoe will match up next against Ben Shelton in the third round of the U.S. Open. Now the two have some history, as Shelton prevented Tiafoe from reaching a second straight semifinals last year, beating him in the quarterfinal round. They'll face off against one another tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Washington Commanders continue to gear up for the 2024 season. Now, while the team made some solid signings on both sides of the ball, fans are eager for some more splashy ones, such as San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, who has been named as a player the team should try and trade for. But General Manager Adam Peters talked about what goes into him being disciplined with the team's money and making sure not to spend too much.
It really just goes back to one core philosophy: is you always want to do what's best for the team, and that's for the short and long term. And so every decision we make is going to be with that in mind, and we're going to talk about it. And there's going to be a lot of different things that come across our desks, and we sit down and we talk about it. And do we think this is the right move for us right now and for the future? And so each time, each individual decision is going to be the same thought process: is this the best for our team, and that's going to drive our decision making.
The Commanders will take the field versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for their first game of the season on September 8th. Moving on to the major leagues, outfielder Dylan Cruz hit a major milestone this week as he was finally called up to join the Washington Nationals. And just a couple of days later, Cruz hit another milestone as he recorded the first home run of his major league career last night. This homer was not only the first one of his career, but it also was the Nats' first one of the night en route to them beating New York 5-2. Cruz and the rest of the Nats will take the diamond against the Chicago Cubs tomorrow at 6:45. And wrapping up sports, the Baltimore Orioles fell to the Los Angeles Dodgers yesterday 6-4. The two teams will suit up for their final game of the series against each other tonight at 10:10. And that wraps up your Thursday sports page.
All right, so Simon, do you think the Commanders need to sign Brandon Ayuk? Do they need a heavy wide receiver like that?
I think so, Mariah, because outside of Terry McLaurin, this wide receiver room, it's not very strong. So being as though Ayuk, he's a very quality receiver. He made second team All-Pro this past season. So everything they can use his services. And also he has a connection with Jaden Daniels as well, the Commanders' rookie quarterback. Because before Jaden Daniels went to LSU, he was at Arizona State and he played with Ayuk. So those two have a little bit of they have a little bit of chemistry. Yep, a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of history. I definitely think they can use his services for sure.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thanks, Simon. And before we go, let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. We'll have some showers on and off throughout the weekend, so make sure you be prepared. Make sure you have that umbrella handy. Tomorrow we have a 50% chance of rain with a high of 78.
Saturday we have a 60% chance of rain, and we're looking at a high of 87 and low of 71. Sunday it's going to be 87 degrees and rain is expected after 2 p.m.
And finally, let's take a look at our community calendar. Calling all teens tomorrow afternoon, the Bowie Branch Library invites you to Positive Vibes Therapy Dog Visit for Teens.
The first week of school can be stressful, so why not experience the calming presence of a therapy dog? This program, in partnership with Pets on Wheels, offers a chance for teens to unwind and connect with a gentle trained dog. This event is from 3 to 4 p.m. For more information, contact 240-455-5451.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, everyone.